Good afternoon. They say the month of May is mental health awareness. Well, today I want to talk about the children. Children who witness domestic violence when it's parents or aunts and uncles. Children who witness domestic violence, whether they see it or hear it, they are traumatized by it, whether you believe it or not. I am speaking from experience. When I was 5 years old, the first thing I remember was seeing my mother get kicked in her stomach, knocked to the ground, and her second husband, with his service boots on, stomped her in her stomach and then start choking her. The only way my mother broke free was she took a trophy and hit him upside his head. That experience, seeing that, traumatized me. Hearing her screams day in and day out traumatized me. We moved from an apartment to base housing, where the beatings continue. I see my mother get choked so many times, and she would always fight back, or I heard her screams. And I thought to myself, this man wants me to call him daddy, but yet you are hurting my mother. Let alone I'm seeing it, but you're hurting me. The other time I remember him hurting my mother was one day he took her food and threw it in the trash, told her she didn't deserve to eat. My mother got up from the table screaming, yelling, and shouting, "What do I do? What have I done to deserve this?" I thought she was having a nervous breakdown. Then he took something and threw it, hit her in the back of her head. I thought he had knocked her out. My mom wouldn't move. I went to get up and I yelled, "Mommy." He yelled at me, told me, "Sit down. Don't you dare move." What was I supposed to do? This was her second husband, a man who wanted me to call him daddy. He left. And as soon as he left the house, and I'm sitting there paralyzed, not moving, my mother jumped up, locked all the doors and the windows. Around 8, 9 o'clock that night, we heard a knock at the door. It was him. She cracked the door open. My mom told me to go upstairs. I didn't go completely upstairs. I heard him tell her if she didn't open the door and let him in, he was going to shoot her and then shoot me. Again, traumatized. I was angry because this man was supposed to be like a father to me, but yet he's hurting my mother. This was my mom's second husband, a man who wanted me to call him daddy. She left him for a bit, but she went back. And when she went back, the beatings started all over again. I was in 4th grade. The last beating that my mother took was him. I don't know if he was beating her with a belt or a switch or whatever, but he was beating her. I heard the screams. She ran into my room and I laid on top of her. He came in. He told her, "Move." or I'm going to hit Angie. My mom tried to move me. I refused to move. I was willing to take a beating for my mom that night. She finally got up and ran back to the room. He snatched the phone out of my room because he knows I was going to call family. But little did he know, I snuck into the kitchen. I called my great-grandmother. I thought I was talking to my cousin Kenny, when actually I was talking to my cousin Stevie. And within 5 to 10 minutes, my great-grandmother was there with my Uncle George and my cousin Kenny. For some unknown reason, he was scared of my great-grandmother, my mother's second husband, a man who wanted me to call him Daddy. After that night, my mother finally left. She went to counseling, but they thought I was okay because I was young and I would forget about it. I didn't. I would get angry and black out and fight people. Matter of fact, I would have dreams at night, me beating him up, my mother's second husband, a man who wanted me to call him Daddy. So for those who are in an abusive relationship and you have children, get out while the getting is good. Not only for your sake, go to counseling, but for your children's sake. Let them go to counseling, because that is deep and rooted inside them of insecurity and not feeling safe. Take it from me. I went to counseling. I set up boundaries, and I'm feeling a whole lot better. No more dreams. And I truly forgave the man who abused my mother, the man who wanted me to call him Daddy. Again, anything that's hurting you or hurting your children, you need to go tell